day guaranteed. There's nothing worse than trying to find the right gift for somebody that already has everything. Whether that special present is for a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan or an Alabama Crimson Tide backer, maybe Gramps is a lifelong Dallas Cowboys supporter, or your brother-in-law is in LSU Tiger territory. Know a member of the Baylor Alumni Association? Is there a better Father's Day gift for someone who's a Kansas City Chiefs fan? Send them the coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Now, if your favorite pro team is the Buffalo Bills or those Minnesota Vikings, well, we're sorry about that. Also, if you're a New Mexico State Aggie or a Tulane Green Wave alum, not much they can do. After all, the name isn't nice effort, you had a pretty good season footballs.com. The name is championshipfootballs.com. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed.
Your client's going away for 10 years. Unless we swap first-round picks.
Fantasy football draft season is upon us. It's time for you to put the PP back in the PPR league with the sponsors of today's show, Manscaped. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming just launched the new Performance Package 4.0. Don't neglect your balls like the Packers front office has been neglecting Aaron Rodgers. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get ready for kickoff by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. This will help you tame that Troy Polamalu in your pants. And good news for our international listeners. Their life-changing products are now available in Canada, the UK, across Europe, Australia, South Africa, and Singapore. All with the 20% off and free international shipping when you use the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY today. One of the best sponsors of the show is named SimBull. That's SIMBULL. SimBull, where Wall Street meets sports gambling in this innovative app. The SimBull brings the fun of being able to play for the long term by purchasing, selling, and trading stocks of your teams. When your teams win, you win a payout. Well, when they lose, you don't lose money. The value of your team's share is all that matters, and it's easy to use. Just download the SimBull app on your Play Store and use the promo code MDSFantasy for a $10 deposit of at least $10 or more. Join the fun of investing in your team for the long haul, where the sportsbook edge is put back into your hands as the player. For the latest and most fun in sports gambling, download SimBull and again, use the promo code MDSFantasy for your $10 deposit bonus today. Do you have trouble waking up in the morning? Well, not anymore, because Invader Coffee is here to make you look forward to that morning sunshine. Rated one of the best, smoothest tasting coffees on the market today. Originating out of Texas, this rare coffee product is able to reach new heights in quality from its air roasting process, creating coffee beans with the most robust and smooth flavor you will ever find. So make your mornings more enjoyable by going to invadercoffee.com and use the promo code BELLYUP for 15% off your next purchase. Again, that is promo code BELLYUP for 15% off of your Invader Coffee purchase today at invadercoffee.com. Hey there, sports fans. This is Dan Mater, the host of the MD's Fantasy Football Show, and I am so happy and proud to announce our availability on the Unhinged Radio Network. All you gotta do is go to unhingedsn.airtime.pro to catch us on Sundays at 12 to 1 p.m. or Monday, Thursday, and Fridays from 6 to 7:30 p.m. or on Tuesdays at 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. That's right, we are available 5 days a week on the Radio Unhinged Network, now powered by Belly Up Sports, giving you the best fantasy football information you could possibly get out there to give yourselves, the MD Nation, the edge in your fantasy football leagues to become champions today. So check out Unhinged Radio and listen to sports talk in a whole new way today.
This is the MD's Fantasy Football Show with Dan Mader, giving you the X's and O's of all things fantasy.
Happy Saturday night, ladies and gentlemen of MD Nation, and welcome into the MD's Fantasy Football Show on social media at BellyUp MDFF Show, and of course on our YouTube channel, the MD's Fantasy Football Show. Please subscribe. This is new for the show, but this is not new for Chris and I. Chris and I were doing Saturday nights before as the DC's DFS Challenge. Now it's just going to be part of the MD channel, the MD episodes, but still the same concept in general. Chris, tonight we're going to be going over our DraftKings lineup cards and our lock bets heading into week 1. Can't wait. And of course, we'll be back tomorrow from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. all the way up until kickoff, right back here on the Unhinged Radio Network. Make sure you go to unhingedsn.airtime.pro. Chris, how are you making out this Saturday night?
We're back on Saturdays. I'm excited. I can't wait to talk some football. We got football kicking off. We already had Thursday night's game, and now we got some more games tomorrow.
I know you missed yesterday. We had so much to talk about during that recap for Thursday Night Football, some injury updates that we had to go through. And to get the final update, tomorrow I'm actually going to be on the BellyUp Fantasy Live pregame show with Mr. Adam LaRue. We're going to be taking that off from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. So make sure you go to @BellyUp Fantasy. It's only going to be on social media, so make sure you check that out. But we're going to go through any questions you guys have, our full preview of the week 1 matchups. So make sure you go ahead and check that out there. But Chris, how was your Thursday night? Because we didn't get to talk to you on Friday.
I mean, that game was incredible. I thought I was on the edge of my seat all night long. I mean, it was exciting. We had teams, going back and forth. Tom Brady looked great. Dak Prescott definitely impressed me. I expected him to come out and throw 58 passes. So, I mean, yeah, it was definitely with a shootout we kind of hoped for in a close game, and kind of sadly Dallas lost. I mean, I was happy Tampa won, but both teams deserved to win that game because they both played really well.
Yeah, there wasn't a better game you could have had to kick off the NFL season, and we've had some duds to kick off the NFL season on Thursday Night Football before. That was everything you could have asked for. Tom Brady coming back to win the game at the end in true Tom Brady-like fashion. But Dak Prescott said, what shoulder, what ankle, 58 pass attempts, dropped dimes everywhere, over 400 passing yards. Amari Cooper looked great. CeeDee Lamb looked great. Unfortunately, it looks like Michael Gallup's going to miss the next 3 to 5 weeks with a calf strain on his end. But everybody looked great, except for, of course, Ezekiel Elliott. But like I talked about in yesterday's show, MD Nation, don't make the mistake of panicking on Ezekiel Elliott. Chris, you and I mentioned that on Friday's show, you and I talked about on Thursday how he could possibly be a buy low candidate if people panicked after a bad performance that was potentially on the table given the matchup, especially without Zach Martin. So just kind of keep that in mind as you go throughout the week. Know your league from that sense. And then, of course, on the Tampa Bay side, everything was great with the exception of Mike Evans, but better days are ahead. People are going to get spread out. Somebody's going to get left out in that rotation. I don't think there's going to be too many more games where Gronk goes off for 8 catches, 90 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I think that was the big thing that took away from Mike Evans in that instance. But Rob Gronkowski himself does manage to say, hey, you know what? I'm here for real. 57 snaps compared to Cameron Brate's 19, compared to O.J. Howard's 6. Yay, you know what? He's going to be here. He's going to be in the top 12 pretty much every single week now because of that conversation. But that's not what we're here to talk about tonight. Tonight, we're here to talk about our DraftKings lineup. Tonight is about winning you guys money, whether it be through DFS or through betting. And we're going to have Mr. Chaz Flaherty on in the second half of today's show, like we normally will throughout this. He's going to talk about his Easy Sports betting data that you can get your hands on when you go to BellyUpFantasySports.com and sign up for the Google sign up form. Pay on PayPal. It's only $16.50 for the week, and there's 8 different ways to pay for every single game of week 1 every single week. So you're guaranteed to win money. It's one of the deep analytical pieces of information we could possibly offer you guys to help you guys win money in so many different ways with so many different trends and high probability bets. So he's going to talk about that a little bit. You're going to be able to win a free week of that if you are able to win our free DFS contest on DraftKings. By the way, the link is in the comments, and we've also posted it up on social media at BellyUpMDFF Show. It's a free contest that we're going to be talking about. That's what we're going to be using our DraftKings lineup cards here on today. All you got to do is enter. If you win, you automatically win 1 free week of Easy Sports betting data, and then you also get put into a raffle for the end of the month to possibly win a championship football from championshipfootballs.com. So we'll have a September giveaway, October, November, December, and January this year for that as well. So winners weekly, winners monthly, and that's what we're here about today.
And how much did all that cost again, Dan?
Absolutely $0. It is free, 100% free to join our contest. We just want to share the love. That's all we want to do. We want you guys to participate and engage and share the love. So there's absolutely no reason to join. You are risking absolutely nothing, and we're going to try to win you guys some money along the way. What do you think, Chris?
I mean, I think that's what we're all about. We're here to win you some money, cash some tickets, and give you some free stuff. You can't beat that.
Amen, brother. All right, so let's go ahead, dive into your lineup this evening first. We'll give you first crack at it. We'll go through it player by player. What values did you have? And then we'll compare my lineup after we get a word in after the commercial.
Sure. So I kick it off at the quarterback position with Mr. Aaron Rodgers versus New Orleans Saints, $6,800. Guy coming off an MVP year. You got a defense that basically has who knows who their second corner is right now. So you basically have a veteran quarterback who's going to have a pick your poison versus the Saints defense is questionable at best right now. I mean, you lost a lot of guys on the offseason. Pass rush isn't quite what it had been. So I'm excited for Aaron Rodgers' potential in this game.
Yeah, it's hard not to be. This could be a shootout game, right, between Green Bay and New Orleans. Both teams have some questions in the secondary of exactly who's going to be healthy in this one. The Saints, because of the unfortunate situation because of the hurricane, they're going to be playing their home game in Jacksonville. So a lot of things are in flux for them as well. But I expect this to be a shootout game. I believe the over-under is set somewhere around the 50 mark. So Vegas is expecting a shootout game as well. Can't go wrong with an Aaron Rodgers. I agree with that.
Yeah, and they also said the Jacksonville game, even though it's supposed to be a home game for the Saints, actually wound up being a home game for Green Bay Packers because how much they have love for Aaron Rodgers. So it'll be exciting to see that. At my running back position, I was the guy coming back off as one of our number one studs coming off injury last year. Christian McCaffrey, $9,500 is expensive, but to me, worth it. You're playing the New York Jets, who basically have no linebackers that you're worried about. A guy who has everything to prove and was very statistically, productive last year, other than his injuries. So when he's out there, he's producing, and I'm excited about Christian McCaffrey.
Look, spoiler alert, Christian McCaffrey is in my lineup as well. He's $9,500. And I want people to take that into consideration with DraftKings real quick. That is the cheapest he's going to be all season long. Remember, 2 years ago, as we went on to the season, he was going up to 10,000, 10,500, 1,100. He got all the way up to 11,500 at one point, making it almost impossible to put him in your lineup unless you had all sleepers around him. $9,500 for Christian McCaffrey, his first week back where he's fully healthy against the New York Jets of all teams. Yeah, you're not going to win a tournament or a head-to-head matchup if Christian McCaffrey's not in your lineup this week.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I also have to say that I just love DFS prices right now. Beginning of the season, you have so many values out there. So I would definitely take advantage if I was listeners, because now's the time to do it. You get all kinds of incredible value.
If you're confident in what you're doing and you can shoot your shot, or if you're listening to this show or others like it, you'll be put in a really great position come week one, because like you said, the value is at an all-time high because everyone's still trying to figure out exactly where they should price these players, and they want to price them relatively objectively because you don't want to completely turn players off. So you get these instances like Christian McCaffrey, $9,500. Again, this is the cheapest he's going to be all season long.
Yeah. Speaking of the cheapest, is probably all season long. And with my second running back is Alvin Kamara. Obviously, I'm a big fan of this Green Bay New Orleans game. We talked about their points over and under. I think this is definitely going to be a shootout opportunity. Then we know that the Saints don't have Michael Thomas starting off the season. Alvin Kamara, to me, is going to be their running back one, the receiver one. They're all everything number one. So I have him in my backfield this week.
What's his price at?
$8,600.
$8,600. So what you're looking for people who may be new to DFS, it's a new season, so new people might be coming in. What you're looking for out of these price tags with these players is that you want the points, and you want double points and a half. That's what you're hoping for when you pay up these prices. So in the case of an Alvin Kamara, what you want is 24 points in a full point PPR league for him to give back the price tag of $8,600. And I just kind of want to throw that tidbit out there for people who might be first joining DFS here. Yeah. tonight. So that's what you're looking for. That's what these prices dictate. If you get that mark, then you are in good position with the value that you paid for. Alvin Kamara is another one who's in a great spot. I'm curious to see the rest of your lineup now because you have Aaron Rodgers, a fairly highly priced quarterback, and then 2 high-priced running backs. So I'm very excited to see the rest of your lineup and what kind of sleepers you went with.
Yeah, so at my receiver position, I don't think it's necessarily a sleeper, but a guy who's been productive for the past 5 years, a top 20 scorer, and Brandon Cooks. I love the matchup versus Jacksonville. We know the Texans have basically nobody else to throw the ball to but Brandon Cooks. Everything I understand, they're moving him around in formation, so we play in the slot, playing the outside. He probably will be their passing game. Tyrod Taylor has been able to show that he can feature one receiver, probably not more than that, but he has been able to feature one receiver during most of his career. So I'm excited about Brandon Cooks at $5,300 versus Jacksonville. I like it.
Yeah, very low chance for him to bust out this week given the matchup and the target share that he's going to see. But because it is the Jacksonville Jaguars, Brandon Cooks does have some big play capabilities, making him a nice play in tournament leagues. His value is insane right now, and he is wide receiver 16 for the MD's Fantasy Football Show. Make sure you go check out those rankings on BellyUpFantasySports.com tonight, and I'll be updating them through tomorrow morning's show too, by the way, as we get more news and all that. But make sure you keep checking on that. But he is our wide receiver 16 for the week. I like the value play there to go with your 2 top-end running backs.
So sticking with the value idea and also the DFS, DFS kind of goes off of guys' last year statistics a lot of times. So some of these younger guys can be cheaper there for you. So Devontae Smith, I'm going versus Atlanta for $4,500. I love the matchup. I think that he's going to be the primarily featured in the receiving core for the Eagles. I think that he should in preseason, his ability to get out of breaks, his ability to run patterns. Actually, this guy have a huge game. Atlanta's secondary is basically questionable at best. Their safety play is basically awful. So you got a chance not only for the big play, you got a chance for some volume there too.
Yeah, another spoiler alert, Devonta Smith also in my lineup. So that's 2 players so far that we have the same. $4,500 is an absolute steal for a guy who's wide receiver 20 on our list. Going against the Atlanta Falcons, who was 32nd in secondary play last season. There's really no reason to believe that we have improved at all this year, the personnel situation for a tournament league.
Yeah, and I also kind of pointed out Devonta Smith's ability to get out of his breaks and his route running for a reason. I think that, to your point, Jalen Hurts does have some accuracy issues, but it's much easier for the throw to guys who have great separation and are wide open. So I think Devonta Smith kind of presents that kind of target for him to be able to be effective with. My other receiver position is, I have, for your guest host tomorrow, Adam LaRoche, I have to go with Elijah Moore. $3,000. I think the value is incredible. Jameis Crowder is going to be out this week. We know that they're talking about Elijah Moore playing not only the outside, but also the slot a lot in this game. You're going to see basically J.C. Horn probably following Corey Davis around. So that leaves Elijah Moore on that second corner in Carolina. I'll take that all day, every day.
Yeah, I mean, not just Jameis Crowder, but there's a good chance Keelan Cole is going to be out as well, kind of opening up the door. Maybe Denzel Mims might get some playing time after he's been. Yeah, Chris is a big fan of his. He's been in the doghouse all summer long, so it might be interesting to see that he's suddenly going to get playing time week 1 because of that. But in Elijah Moore's case, outside of a Corey Davis, somebody else is going to have to get the ball here. Elijah Moore has that big play capability. They're very excited about him all throughout training camp. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see him in any preseason games because he got an injury later on, but he's good to go now. He's 100% healthy. They've been big on this kid since they've gotten him. Before he was injured, him and Zach Wilson were reportedly on the same page almost at every turn. $3,000, it's gonna be very fine a player in a better situation.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you have your starting one of your starting receivers out. This guy's has been a phenom basically during the offseason. And for $3,000, he'll never get cheaper the rest of the year.
And a quick mention here, too, because of the Jets' defense is such disarray because of the injuries they've sustained, this is another game where it could be sneaky shootout, or you're going to see the Jets do the Jets things and have to have garbage time points, too. I wouldn't be surprised by that either.
Yeah, either or. I'd take them. So I'm a tight end position. We talked about the Eagles, Atlanta kind of being a sneaky shootout game. I'm loving me some Kyle Pitts. I talked about on our show this past Thursday. I think Kyle Pitts for $4,400. Once again, a guy who's probably not going to be that cheap the rest of the year. I'm excited about his opportunity versus the Eagles. Their safety plays, not very good. I can't wait till he gets it matched up on my Anthony Maddox because I think Anthony Maddox should be in the NFL. So I'm excited for this game. I love Kyle Pitts' ability to have not only be possibly a touchdown, but have a lot of volume. Everything coming out of camp is that they're moving him all around the formation. Arthur Smith is going to make sure he's one of the heavier targeted guys. So week 1, usually you see those kind of things come to fruition. So I think Kyle Pitts is going to have a big week this week.
Definitely in a prime position to do that. And I think all eyes are going to be on Kyle Pitts, right? What's the usage going to be? How often is he going to split out? Why? We talked about that on yesterday's show. Go back and listen on your favorite pod streaming app. We're available to you on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, Spreaker, wherever. Just go and download it. We talked about a full analysis on what we expect out of Kyle Pitts coming in as I tried in 7 on this week in particular. But just he's going to have to be that second weapon to Calvin Ridley, and especially in the red zone, making him a high ceiling type of player, especially at that position where it's so desolate when you get outside of the big top 3 in Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, and George Kittle. And because there's really 3 dominant tight ends and then everybody else, there's so much value everywhere. They're so heavily overpriced compared to the rest of the group that you got to find the value. And right now, Kyle Pitts talk about players who might not be valued more, it might not be priced lower than what they are this week 1. Kyle Pitts might be one of those guys.
Yeah, and I like I said, I absolutely love this matchup. And we know other than Darius Slay, the secondary is not very good for the Philadelphia Eagles, so I'm really excited for it. And my flex play is a guy I'm also very excited for. Hope he gets more carries and more opportunity than he did last year, but still was very successful last year. That's Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds versus Tennessee is $4,600. Tennessee has made some changes up on the defense. They've improved their pass rush. They've improved their corner position. None of that affects Chase Edmonds. So I think Chase Edmonds has a chance to have more of a bell cow role this year, possibly. I think he's going to not have to necessarily have Kenny Drake like he was last year breathing down his neck, where, talk about Connor on our show. We think his role is going to kind of be much different because there's not much money tied to this guy. So I think Chase Edmonds has a chance to kind of show the world that what he's all about. And I think that one thing you love about this game is no matter, it could be a shootout, but no matter how they kind of flow, Chase Edmonds will be involved in the offense.
Agreed. Everyone has their eyes on, is James Conner going to get that first, second down work? Is he going to get the goal line touches? Does not matter to your point in this particular matchup, because we got another possible shootout on our hands between the Tennessee Titans and Arizona Cardinals with their defenses in such disarray from last season. The Titans made some move on paper that might suggest they are getting a little bit better, but it doesn't mean that Chase Edmonds suddenly won't be able to get the workload. I expect him to be the main pass catching down back. They're going to need him to check the ball down. Tennessee doesn't have any linebackers to cover him, so I like the matchups he gets on the outside one-on-ones for a big play possibility, given the value that you're going to get out of him this week.
Yeah, and I also think he's very effective in the running game. And one thing, kind of misconception about the Arizona Cardinals is they're just this throw-happy team. And they really aren't. They ran the ball 57% of the time last year. So Chase Edmonds has a chance to put up some numbers also in the rushing game, not just the receiving game as well.
And keep in mind for us, he's RB18 this week.
And then finally, my other value, I think, in a lot of ways, is the Denver Broncos defense versus New York Giants. The Giants offense is coming in all kinds of question marks. Kenny Golladay, how healthy is he? Saquon Barkley, how many snaps will he play? Is Daniel Jones suck or not? The offensive line is, but basically, it's already shown what it is. It's been struggling just in preseason, so God knows what's going to look in the regular season. The Broncos might not have Chubb this tomorrow. Or I'm sorry, Sunday. Yeah, tomorrow. But the one thing that they do have is Von Miller. They do have a great secondary, and they have a lot of different guys they can bring. So I look at this defense as having an opportunity not only for a lot of sacks and turnovers. I think they're going to be able to maybe score a touchdown in this game.
Yeah, I totally agree with that as well. Definitely a defense that I was looking at myself. Chubb's in, Von Miller's in, everyone's healthy, ready to go. It's a bad offensive line, a fumble, a fumble Ruski here at the quarterback situation, and Daniel Jones. Big potential for big points. So what we're going to do now, take a quick break, get a word in from our sponsor. I'll come back on the other side with my DraftKings lineup card, and then we'll have Mr. Chaz Flaherty on the second half of the show to give us our lock bets of the week. So everybody stay tuned right after this. Do you like easy money? Of course you do. Now, thanks to MyBookie and their lock of the season, if either team scores in the NFL season opener, you win. A game hasn't ended in 0-0 since World War II, so this is as sure of a bet as it gets. Head to mybookie.ag, select the lock of the season, and if any team scores between the Dallas Cowboys or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you win. The best bet is one that you can't lose. MyBookie is also playing host to several exclusive contests, including their $100,000 Super Contest, and it only costs $10 to enter. There's big money on the line this season, so don't wait to get in the game. Join now. Head to mybookie.ag today and use promo code MDFantasy to receive double your first deposit and get started with MyBookie today. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. And we are back on the MD's Fantasy Football Show, live on social media at BellyUp MDFF Show, and of course on YouTube, the MD's Fantasy Football Show for you guys, going through our favorite DraftKings lineup cards as we try to win you guys some money. And of course, we'll have Mr. Chaz Filardi on in the second half of the show briefly. So Chris had a very good lineup that we went through. Now we got to go into mine here, and to kick things off, I have Jalen Hurts as my quarterback to go with Devonta Smith, who I talked about being in my lineup a little bit earlier. Jalen Hurts comes in at $6,400. He's my QB2 on the week. So to get $6,400 plus a cheap combo in a great matchup in this situation with a quarterback who runs a ton and has a high ceiling because of that fact, I'm all over Jalen Hurts at $6,400.
Yeah, like you talked about a game that could easily be a shootout. I think that even a guy who uses his legs, he can have multiple targets he can utilize this year. He still has Zach Ertz to throw the ball to as well. So this Eagles offense is going to be better than a lot of people expect it to be, particularly with the offensive lines now healthy. I think Jalen Hurts can be a fantastic play.
Then after that, we go, of course, with Christian McCaffrey. But then I have Raheem Mostert at $5,800. Talk about a guy who could take any possession to the house, especially in a match against the Detroit Lions, who have no run defense, especially cannot protect themselves on the outside, have nobody to take on those outside zone blocks. I expect Raheem Mostert to have a really, really big game. And to me, he is DFS gold heading into this week matchup.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. My only reason I don't have Raheem Mostert in my backfield is because my only concern for him is does Trey Sermon get that extra yards that he kind of misses out on? Because I think Raheem Mostert is going to have a huge game. I think he's going to have definitely over 100 yards. I think he could have even a bigger game depending on how much playing time he actually gets. I think it's a fantastic matchup for him. I think he's going to have a nice long run. The only thing we want to kind of see is him utilized in the passing game because, PPR purposes, you do kind of want to have some receptions here or there. But Raheem Mostert's given to have over 100 yards and a touchdown this week.
I know this is a BDFS show, but we do have a quick breaking news I just want to mention real quick.
Breaking news.
Usually don't do this on a Saturday show, but Saquon Barkley just officially got medically cleared to play in tomorrow's game. So I just wanted to throw it out there since that was coming out as we were live now. Moving on to my
not a guy shoving DFS lineups, by the way.
No, not at all. We got to see exactly what his limitations are going to be, what his carry load's going to be. Week one is a lot of questions when it comes to Saquon Barkley, but good news for if you're in a redraft league, you can play him with some confidence. He'll definitely be out there. We talked about Raheem Mostert. My number one receiver of the week is A.J. Brown. We talked about the Arizona-Tennessee game having, big aspects of being a big-time scoring shootout type of ball game. I'm all about A.J. Brown in this matchup. Julio Jones is off the injury report. He's good to go. But A.J. Brown's been there all training camp when Julio hasn't been, and he already has a report going with Ryan Tannehill on offense. I think we might see begin to throw the ball a little bit more than what they used to under Arthur Smith, especially in a matchup like this when a secondary is so vulnerable. A.J. Brown is primed to take his game to the next level, to be that top-notch superstar that we all expect him to be. This could be the year of an A.J. Brown. I think it all starts here in week one against Arizona.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic point of view. I mean, you look at basically an offense that's going to be not only having now added Julio Jones, but having lost some of their tight end positions. So you're going to see A.J. Brown utilized even more possibly in the passing game. People are worried about because Julio Jones is going to be there while you lose some touches. I think it helps him. And now defenses can't really double him or even try to take him out of the passing game because you have a Julio Jones on the other side. So I think A.J. Brown, we just saw how big play effective he was last year. Like, even though he only catches 4 or 5 balls, it doesn't matter. The guy scores touchdowns and gets over 100 yards. So I think tomorrow could be a huge game for him.
Marquez Callaway was our number one sleeper for all of offseason. You talked about you got Aaron Rodgers and you think it's going to be a big shootout game. You have Alvin Kamara in that game. Well, guess what? Outside of Alvin Kamara, the other guy who's going to be getting targets, and because there's no Traquan Smith, could be getting double-digit targets in this game, is a Marquez Callaway. I talked about on Friday's show how I don't expect Jaire Alexander to shadow him all over the field. First of all, Alexander didn't shadow everybody all the time to begin with, but Callaway's going to get moved all around. Callaway's going to play some of the slot. Alexander doesn't go there. And they're going to have to feature one of their wide receivers. Callaway's one of the few who can actually run a full route tree anywhere. And I think Callaway's going to be featured quite a bit in this game. And whether the Saints are in a shootout or the Saints are trying to come back from behind, I think there's a good chance we're seeing 8 to 12 targets for Marquez Callaway, who has big play capabilities. So Marquez Callaway at $3,400, huge value this week.
Yeah, we saw all preseason, no matter who the quarterback was, whether it was Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston, that Callaway is by far the leading target receiver. They look for him all over the field. You talked about kind of him being moved around on the field. Michael Thomas was one of those guys. He didn't see a lot of the shadow guys because Sean Payton does a fantastic job of finding the matchups he wants to create. You're going to see Dwayne Harris out there. You're going to see a little Jay Humphrey. And I think that you're going to see those guys kind of be utilized to be able to try to get Jarek Sanders' attention or away from Callaway so he can kind of be featured even more. And one of the things about the Saints they also have to be able to get the kind of matchups they want is having a chess piece like Alvin Kamara. When you can move Alvin Kamara out of the backfield and line up in the slot, move him out at receiver, that kind of creates matchups you're looking for. So I think, Callaway has an opportunity to have a really good game, even Jarek Sanders out there with him.
Jonnu Smith, I've talked about all of season being a big time. If you've been following MD Nation at all for a while, you know I'm a big fan of Jonnu Smith. I think he could be the number one pass catcher of the New England Patriots this season. Miami has a great secondary, great list of corners, but he can still attack them over the middle of the field. Jonnu Smith, I think, is going to be very much featured in this game. And I also wanted to go with the contrarian play because on paper, the Dolphins are a tough match against the tight ends. He's $4,100. I don't think a lot of people are going to load up on Jonnu Smith this week. So for me, he was a key tournament play heading into this game.
Yeah, I like the idea of going for somebody that you don't think everybody else is necessarily going to play. And I also do like the matchup. While you talked about the Dolphins' numbers last year, you kind of take into consideration there wasn't really a lot of good tight ends in that division last year, so that might help inflate some of those numbers. Jonnu Smith's not going to be your predictable tight end you kind of expect out there. This guy can beat linebackers, he can beat safeties, and has the speed of a receiver. So, I mean, he's going to be a mismatch. We've seen him Aaron Hernandez kind of have a similar role in the previous New England Patriots offense. I think Jonnu Smith can take off right off the beginning of the season. And this is a guy that we hyped for a reason, not just because we wanted to, because we realized people are just missing out on this guy for some reason.
In my flex, I'm very excited about this player. James Robinson, my number 6 running back on the week. I am 8 spots higher than ECR. You're playing against the Houston Texans. Do I need to say more against the Houston Texans where even if give Carlos Hyde 30% of the work, you're still looking at a huge game and a team that's going to actually be able to do what they want to do as far as what their game plan is, and one of the few opportunities they're going to be able to do it because the Jacksonville Jaguars are playing against the Houston Texans here. All about James Robinson. He's going to get a healthy workload catching the ball, healthy workload carrying the ball, and he has a great matchup here out of shotgun. Houston Texans, one of the worst run defenses, period, but even worse against shotgun runs, which James Robinson does best, which is offense is what they're going to do. So I'm all about James Robinson at $6,400, an absolute steal, and a guy in my top 6.
Who are they playing again?
The Houston Texans.
That's my insight. I think it's a good move.
Exactly. The defense, I wanted to go with another contrarian play. I think a lot of people are going to load up on the Denver Broncos. A lot of people are going to load up on the San Francisco 49ers, rightfully so, given their matchups, given their situations. But don't forget about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Don't forget about how good this defense is. I don't care that they're going up against Josh Allen and a high-volume passing attack offense. They got TJ Watt signed. They signed Melvin Ingram. They have all the pass rushers in the world to make their lives a living hell. And like we talked about on Thursday, you cannot be one-dimensional offensively against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. $2,800, a contrarian play, a defense that in my mind is definitely still a top 3 defense in the NFL. All about the Pittsburgh Steelers in my DraftKings lineup this week.
I think it's a very interesting move. The one thing I definitely have to agree with you is I think Pittsburgh defense is very good. And now that they have TJ Watt back, I think it's tremendous because I think that, one thing you're worried about the Steelers with they generate pass rush. As long as that guy's out there, the pass rush will be there.
What we're going to do now is take a quick break, get a word in from our sponsor, come back on the other side. We're going to have Mr. Chaz Filardi wait in the wings, and we're going to talk about some easy sports betting data. We're going to talk about our lock bets of the Sunday, and we're going to win you guys some money. So stay tuned right after this.
Your client's going away for 10 years. Unless we swap first-round picks.
Fantasy football draft season is upon us. It's time for you to put the PP back in the PPR league with the sponsors of today's show, Manscaped. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming just launched the new Performance Package 4.0. Don't neglect your balls like the Packers front office has been neglecting Aaron Rodgers. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get ready for kickoff by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. this will help you tame that Troy Polamalu in your pants. And good news for our international listeners. Their life-changing products are now available in Canada, the UK, across Europe, Australia, South Africa, and Singapore. All with the 20% off and free international shipping when you use the promo code BellyUpFantasy today.
You're listening to the MD's Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome back, MD Nation. You are on the MD's Fantasy Football Show. And with us is Mr. Chaz Filardi of Sports Betting Weekly, of ChampionshipFootballs.com, of Easy Sports Data. The man just gives and gives and gives and gives. Chaz, how are you doing today?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you great. You look great. Hear you great.
I'm doing good, but you know what? I haven't seen you. I got to talk to Chris the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the pleasure to be on Chaz's show. It was a wonderful experience. Tell about your show, Chaz.
He joined us for a Wake and Bake, which we did again this morning. This morning we did it without a camera, though. It was a good time. It was a good time. And you know what? He's so knowledgeable. You know that, Dan. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. So.
Of course. Why is my co-host?
Exactamundo.
Talk about your new show a little bit.
I'm doing good. TB determined. Hold on. See what I do? Because you never know. You wake up Saturday morning, and I'm blessed that I've got a lot of guys that give me plays, which sometimes is great. Sometimes it stinks because you get too many plays. You can't have action, and that's really rule number one in sports betting. The more you play, the more the house advantage is going to kick in. So you got to pick and choose. So I went with 5 games today, and I hit the first. Well, I had 5 games this week, and I hit the first one. I hit the second one, and the third one, my quarterback got hurt. On the Texas A&M quarterback got hurt. So what are you going to do? I mean, you can't handicap quarterbacks getting hurt. And I will give them credit because I backed off the game. I hopped on a -2.5. And then I took them in the second half, -6.5. So they cashed those for me. But I'm going to end up it's going to cost me a 5-teamer, which are nice. 5-teamers are nice, You get $200.
Yeah, it's nice when you're able to hit those.
Yeah, for a $10 bill. And I'm not from the school of you should never play parlays. If someone tells you never, now listen, between you two, I'm as old as you two together. So this is good advice. Listen to this. If someone tells you never to do something, they're an idiot. And that's my advice.
I like it. I like it a lot. Always try it once.
Probability and possibility. Never is just the word you should, don't get me, you should never be mean. People should never bully. You can say never on those things. I'm talking about when it comes to sports betting. You do what you want to do. There's always crazy stuff that happens. But the bottom line is what I consider parlays is reverse insurance for when something good happens. Your insurance guy don't come to your house and say, hey, let's sit down and plan on when something good happens. That's not what insurance is. But for parlays, it is. So you know what? I go 4-1. I'm going to cash a lot of tickets because, I had some first halves, some first quarters, some games, some second halves. I'm not going to hit the big parlay, but all in all, I'm having a good day. I'm still, though, live. I need Kentucky. Kentucky is a big play for me. And I need Liberty. And I think Liberty is really winning enough that I can almost call it a game. But as you know, you can never call it a game anymore because that's when weird stuff happens. It's when you think that you're not there. But so this is really exciting because to me, this means NFL season is here. I'm on the MD show. Now, I've been calling it DCs for like 2 years, so you're going to have to work with who know it's coming.
It's an adjustment period. We got you. It's all good.
So if I told somebody the show I'm on, would I say the MD Fantasy Show? Is that what the full name of it is?
MD's Fantasy Football Show, yes.
Show. And where does the MDs come from?
Well, the MDs actually came from originally when this show came to be about 3 years ago. There was a possibility that Chris was going to be my co-host then. Now, it didn't happen until this year. But the idea was MD, Mater, Dowhauer, our 2 last names together. He wasn't able to do it the first year like we were hoping he was, but we were able to keep the name because my initials happen to be DM. I just switched it back and forth to MD. We just kept the name in, and now Chris is with us as my co-host starting this season.
Funny how that worked, but yeah, I didn't know because MD is your name backwards, so nobody's gonna call you Matter Dan, unless you're looking at where they do an alphabetical order or something.
We're the doctors of fantasy.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it.
There you go. I like that.
That's
well,
it.
You know what? You give out some good prescriptions. I'll tell you that. I've been watching you guys for a long time. You give out a lot of winners. All right, so I'm going to give you a quick update, and then we'll get focused on stuff. Liberty is up 21-7, given 3. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about that. I got him with Kentucky, who just scored. So between now and when I get off the air with you guys, I should have more money in my account.
And that's what it's all about. And that's what we're hoping to be able to do here, too. Chaz, actually, before we get into our bets and everything like that, there's one more thing I want you to talk about, is that the Easy Sports betting data just became available on BellyUpFantasySports.com. If you $16.50, that's it. And what you get is you get 8 different ways to bet on all the games of week 1. Chaz is actually throwing in some CFL games as a complimentary to you guys, so you can bet on that as well. But it gives you all this analytical data on trends and high probability bets on every single game. So it's almost a guaranteed way that you're going to be able to make some money off of this thing just for $16.50 a week. But you're the man who creates it. So I want you to talk about that Easy Sports data a little bit here.
Well, yeah. Imagine if you took the time to grab every first quarter line, every first half line, every second half line, and every game line. And then you added it together with every first quarter result, every first half result, every second half result, and every game result. Then you put it all together in a system and you printed it out not only for overall, which is all their games, but for the matchup, which is this week, Dallas at Tampa, Jacksonville at Houston. So just the home or road data for those particular matchups. And the bottom line, it's powerful. And how do I know it's powerful? Because I've been winning with them since, I don't know, for 10 years now, 8 years, eight years.
Yeah, Taz, I'm gonna say a never. You should never pass up an opportunity to get your hands on information like that.
Well, it really is. And now I'm trying to get DRF Sports Forum to take it because they're a data service. And there's a lot of places out there that I'm telling, hey, this is data. It's all it is. But it's the only place in the entire world where this data is all in one place. Well, now it's also on Belly Up Sports Fantasy. So there's only 2
chance to win today.
in the entire world right here and on BellyUpFantasySports.com because it really is. It's so you get all that data. So you get a page for each game. You get a page for the overall. So for tomorrow, the first game, we got a Jacksonville at Houston. You were just talking about that game. Then we have the second page, which is the matchup. So it's just Jacksonville on the road and just Houston at home. But there's 16 games. That's 32 pages. We got it down to 2 pages. It's a cheat sheet. It literally is enough information for you to come out of a coma, walk into a sports book, and make a wager with a good chance you're going to cash.
And that cheat sheet is part of what's going to be our weekly winner prize for our free DFS DraftKings content, the free MDs contest that's available for you guys. We've been posting on social media. It's in the comments tonight if you're watching this on social media at BellyUpMDFF show right now. It's free to join. And if you win, not only you win a free week of this Easy Sports data we're talking about, but you will become eligible in the raffle at the end of the month for ChampionshipFootballs.com, which brings me to my next point. I want to be able to give a shout out to our sponsor of ChampionshipFootballs.com. So we'll be back right after this with our lock bets of week 1 after a word from our sponsor here. You can get Championship Footballs at ChampionshipFootballs.com. They offer a 100% money back guarantee on every single souvenir football that they sell. It's the coolest present that they'll open that day, guaranteed. There's nothing worse than trying to find the right gift for somebody that already has everything. Whether that special present is for a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan or an Alabama Crimson Tide backer, maybe Gramps is a lifelong Dallas Cowboys supporter, or your brother-in-law is in LSU Tiger territory. Know a member of the Baylor Alumni Association? Is there a better Father's Day gift for someone who's a Kansas City Chiefs fan? Send them the coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Now, if your favorite pro team is the Buffalo Bills or those Minnesota Vikings, well, we're sorry about that. Also, if you're a New Mexico State Aggie or a Tulane Green Wave alum, not much they can do. After all, the name isn't nice effort. You had a pretty good season, footballs.com. The name is championshipfootballs.com. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed.
You're listening to the MD's Fantasy Football Show.
And we're back, MD Nation. We're back on the MD's Fantasy Football Show. We're back on social media at BellyUpMDFF Show. And, of course, on our YouTube channel, the MD's Fantasy Football Show. Please subscribe, as we got great content coming out for you. We're joined here, myself, Dan Mader, and Chris Dowhauer, as always, with Mr. Chaz Filardi on this wonderful Saturday night, talking about our bets of the week, of week one, to win you some money right off the bat. Chaz, fire away, my friend.
Well, the first thing is I want to kind of go over this Easy Sports data because I had the winner Thursday night, and it was really the data. I looked at the data real quick, and I saw that Dallas allows a lot of points in the first half, and Tampa Bay scores a lot of points in the second half. So I thought, you know what, I'll go with the team total over, and it was 30.5. So here's where I'm at. I'm losing, and they're losing. The other team was winning. Dallas had the lead. But that they were marching down the field, and Vicky was mad because my wife wanted Dallas. She didn't want Tampa Bay. Why? I don't know. I didn't really ask. She doesn't bet, so I don't really care who you like. I have money on it. If I have $5 on it, it's more than just an emotional thing for me. So I said, well, here's what I need. I actually need your team to take the lead because the only way Tampa Bay is going to score again is if Dallas scores again. And I got it. And it was nice because, as you know, they were given like 9 by the time of kickoff, but I didn't care about 9. I had 30.5 and they had 31. And that's really what I do here. So let's talk about, you mentioned a couple games that I was listening to, but you did mention the Jacksonville-Houston game.
Yeah.
One of the things I like to do, because, I've got, on my show, I've got some really good handicappers too. John from GMF Sports Consultant, he's like in the top 3 and top 1 in services when they show their record. This is not like over the weekend he went 4-1. The guy is 176 and 24 and stuff like that. And Blackhawk West is just really knowledgeable. So I take their plays, and then what I do is I kind of look at the data, and I look to win more bets with their plays. And that's really what we've talked about with Easy Sports data from the beginning. Win more bets now. So give me a quick refresher what you said on the Jacksonville-Houston game.
Well, we were talking about from the player standpoint, and, James Robinson should be poised to have a really great game there. Jacksonville is in an opportune situation to where they're going to be able to run what offense they want to run because Houston's defense is so god-awful this season. So this is one of the few opportunities where that offensive line that they're very questionable for Jacksonville Jaguars may not be as big of a factor. And honestly, Houston, as long as they don't play Deshaun Watson, I think there's a very good chance this is an 0-17 team in the making.
Well, what's going to happen with him? Is he going to jail or what?
I mean, we're not going to know anything until February.
Yeah.
And
most of that civil stuff, right? I mean, I don't even think
there's still technically at this moment, there still are not criminal charges.
Yeah. All right. So one of the things that I look at now, let's throw the asterisks out there. It's week 1. I'm looking at data from last year. However, what I do know is that occasionally you're seeing away or home records that have a 9 in them, 9 of 10 or 9 of 11. Well, they only play 8 of those. So if they show 9 on week 1 of 2021, what that means is not only all of 2020, but one of the last games of 2019, they've done this. So this team, whatever this team is and whatever they're doing, they've been doing it for going on their 3rd season. And that's the kind of stuff that I think the Easy Sports data really highlights, guys, is the stuff that you don't think about. The teams that teams like to score. Their culture is a scoring culture. Their culture is a defense, whatever the case may be. But when you look at Jacksonville and Houston, all you see is points allowed. All they do is give up points. So, yeah, I would imagine if you had to choose who you're playing in terms of your fantasy, you want to have be on a team that, A, gives up a lot of points and scores a lot of points. And so that's really how I look at it. So that's kind of what I do. So I looked at, there were like 5 or 6 things that I talked about when we were doing our show this week about the data. One of them, look at all the quarterback change this year in the National Football League. You don't really have teams trade starting quarterbacks very often in the NFL. Those things don't happen. You got Las Vegas data. We got Las Vegas data so old that it says Oakland. That's how long this data's been here. So, how are they going to play? They got the stadium. There's going to have fans in there. What happens to a team that had good offense last year or good defense? And then do you look at how a team was finishing last year, or do you look how a team was starting? For the college, this last couple weeks, what I've done is I said, hey, in the last 3 years, let's look at what this team done. And one of the games was Boise State. Boise State had, in their last 3 home openers, beaten the teams 120-27. That was as easy as a win Friday as you could have. And that's because, as you know, in the beginning of college football, it's not like the pros where they play scrubs. I mean, on any given Sunday, that's a statement for a reason. It's a fact. But with the college, they play these teams for a check. And so when you look at those things, those are the kind of things where this data allows you to say, hey, not for nothing, I know I like team B, but I'm going to maybe have the under or the over, or team total here, or team total under. Even in Texas A&M, one of the bets I made was a Colorado team total under 19. Well, in hindsight, it looked like an easy winner. Of course, in real time, they scored quick. They scored right away. So, it was threatened for just a little bit of time. But I would tell people, if I was going to spend the $16.50, which is really what you give the guy, if you say I want to win $15 on Jacksonville tomorrow, then you're going to give him $16.50. If I was going to do that, I would get off my ass about betting just the game. Anybody that just bets the game, you know what? Yeah. First of all, you're not watching the right guy. You shouldn't be talking. You shouldn't be listening to me. You should be going and watching Shark Tank or something.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely love Jacksonville there, and they have great odds if you want to bet. Chaz, I know like to get in the quarters and everything. I like to look at the game lines as well. And right now, -3.5 at almost even money, -105 right now. That's a great key bet for me in this one. I think they do win this game by more than 3.5 points in that one. The other game, I don't know if you have an opinion on or not, but Minnesota Vikings, Cincinnati Bengals. Right now, the Vikings are only favored by -3 points. The Bengals are not ready to kick this thing off with all ground running, because you have Joe Burrow, who's still coming back from the knee injury. Jamar Chase is dealing with a case of the yips at the moment. Vikings defense should be a lot better than what it was a season ago, and their offense is still very much ready to go. I mean, everyone's back. They're running the same system with, Clint Kubiak, Gary Kubiak's son. So for them to be -3 in this opener here, even though they're on the road, I actually like them to win this game by at least a touchdown. So give me the Minnesota Vikings there at -3.
The problem that I have is teams that don't cover. Like one of the things I said on the show, I said, look at Tulsa. All Tulsa does is cover. That's all they do. Now, they played tough today at Oklahoma State, and I don't think they were ever losing that game with the points. But, Minnesota's lost 7 straight games to end the season. So that's where I hesitate to make big plays on teams that are losing against the spread, unless I'm going money line. And then that's another aspect of what I like to do with my teams, especially with the NFL, because the NFL, you don't get these big point spreads, guys. There was one parlay I had today. I was given 70, 100, 140 something points. It was a 4-teamer. You know what? It was the Alabama, Ole Miss, Cincinnati, Tulane, and they almost all covered except for no, Alabama didn't cover. They weren't even closer to 55. But you don't get that in the NFL. So in the NFL, you can go with that whole, risk win. So you say to the guy, I want to win 20 on the team by taking them with the points, and then you risk the rest on the money line, and you get it. So as long as they win the game, you get your money back. And remember what I talked about all the time with you guys, breaking even is not a bad word. For some reason, people sound like negative when they say it broke even. Well, you know what? It's your money and it's back in your wallet. How is that a bad
It's so anticlimactic is the problem.
You're absolutely right. You really are. But when you go play golf and you buy a bucket of balls and you buy some drinks and you pay for your tee time, you rent a card, you're not getting that $180 back. When you wake up the next day, that $180 is gone, and you probably get one or two good shots. But as we all know in golf, one or two good shots will get you coming back.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with that logic. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say, Chad, is there any games in particular that jump out to you for tomorrow's games?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm still in the heart of my NCAA day, so I'm not, I'm not at a point where we talk 3-4 weeks from now. I'm pretty much I'm looking for 10 or 12 teams, maybe 2 or 3 that I'm betting against every week, and 7 or 8 that I'm betting every week, and I'm just going to ride these teams all the way to the end of the season. I haven't gotten there with the NFL, but I have something better than that. I have picks from a guy whose last name is Consultant, and picks from another guy's last name is what is his name? Investing. So John likes Pittsburgh, Carolina, and Kansas City, and Wes likes New England, New Orleans, the Giants, Cincinnati, Atlanta, and Vegas. Now I know Wes joined the contest. I think the circuit contest he did. You know those 5-team contests?
Yeah.
I had done that. I've done it both college and pro. Yeah, my plays, the way I gamble is not contest friendly. I don't mind giving away footballs if you win a contest. I don't mind giving away data if you win a contest, but I'm just not a contest guy because I'm a live action guy. I'm a look for opportunity guy. I may not like a game tomorrow, but if I see, somebody who's favored by 6.5 is down 10-0 early, I'm going to pay attention to that game because you're favored by 6.5 in the NFL for a reason. That's a big spread, right? The most spreads are right around 3.
Well, you know what? That's a great tip right there. Is what do you look for when you are live betting these games? When do you decide to hop on the action? What are some basic maneuvers that people can latch onto when they're trying to live bet tomorrow?
Well, let's look at the what game? Who's your one lock, Chris? Give me a lock. There's no way this team's losing tomorrow.
Broncos.
Okay, Denver. Denver.
-3 right now against New York on the 4:00 game tomorrow.
Oh, they're later in the day. Okay, I got them. Denver at the Giants. Okay, so what do I see with Denver? I see that in the first quarter they've won 5 of their last 7 overall. I see that in their first half they scored 13 points or more in their last 3. In the second half, they've scored 13 or more in their last 5 or 6. So what I'm looking at is I'm looking for this game. If it's not a play of mine, and I see it's early and it's nothing, and I did it last night with that was this morning. Boy, this has been a long day. I thought it was last night. It was this morning. It was the Ohio State game. That was today, right?
Yes.
Wow. You know what? If you drink rum and cokes after the gym,
goes right to your head.
Yeah, you don't need as much alcohol because you already did the workout thing. But yeah, so I hopped on that over 49.5 because it was scoreless. That was the Oregon that went in there and beat them. It was a great game, but I had 49.5, and that was just an easy win. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm going to look for. I'm looking for the opposite is happening of what should happen, and then hop on it because, like you said, the line disappears sometimes. Or you got a team that was given 6, now you're getting 1.5. And when you get 6-7 point swings in lines, we had one with Kentucky last week. I told the guys it was what if you were making a video. So we're going to make a video, the 3 of us, and it's going to teach people how to do live action and what to look for. The Kentucky guy hits the guy right in the chest. It bounces up. The other team gets it and ends up scoring and go up 7-0, and the line dropped to 20. It was like 27 or 28. It dropped to 20. I told everybody on the thread, I'm hopping on this at -20.5, and they ended up winning by 30.5. The difference, not only in cash and tickets, guys, but how low the stress level is. When everybody else has 57 points and I have 49 points, the stress level of watching that game, and then you've heard me talk about that before. I don't like to win. I like to win easy.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to leave the show without giving MD Nation my sleeper pick of the week. And that is, there's 2 different ways I would bet this game, but my outright winner for a sleeper this week would be the Pittsburgh Steelers over the Buffalo Bills. Right now, the Buffalo Bills are favored at -6.5. I would take the Steelers outright on the money line at +250 in this matchup. This is a good team on both sides of the ball that has been getting slept on all year long for the only reason I could think of, and that is people just aren't enthused by the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're not excited by the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the fact of this remains, Ben Roethlisberger should be in better shape than what he was a season ago. We've seen him be in better shape when we got to see him in the preseason. He looked sharper. His elbow looked better. And he looked like he wasn't as, umpa fat as he was a season ago himself. They get Najee Harris, who's going to definitely help some of the inefficiencies they had in the running game. The receivers are all still intact, and in my opinion, their defense at least stayed the same talent-wise, if not in some ways got better this season. Buffalo is a good team, and they're at home, but the Steelers should not be 6.5 underdogs, and I think they're actually the better team on both sides of the ball. Give me Pittsburgh, but give them at +6.5, but I'm also going to take them outright for the money line. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I would definitely lock on the +6.5. I agree with you. The Pittsburgh Steelers have traditionally shown when you sleep on them, it's a team that kind of shows up. I think Ben Roethlisberger's demise is a little bit overstated. I think the defense is definitely has at least has a lot of talent. In my opinion, they did decrease a little bit, losing one of their top corners, but I do think overall still one of the more talented defenses out there. I mean, we're number 3 in the country, number 3 in the nation last year. So I look at this team as has a lot of upside. A team that definitely should cover the spread. I think they're going to give Josh Allen some a hard time out there. And I think that I definitely would bet on that spread. 6.5 to me shouldn't be with Buffalo. People are just kind of assuming Buffalo because Josh Allen's going to quarterback. They're just going to go out roll out over the Steeler team. Mike Tomlin teams don't get rolled over.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly my point. What do you think, Chaz?
Well, you know what? If you like Pittsburgh, I think you got to like the over. You got to assume Buffalo's going to put up a couple points at home. And the second half over, the Easy Sports data is showing zeros and greater thans. Greater than on the Easy Sports data just means that number or more. So if it's greater than 14 or greater than 17 or greater than or equal to 17 means they've scored at least 17. So, yeah, that's a game where I haven't looked at these games yet. But now when I look at it, I'll see it differently because you pointed it out to me, and I'm seeing some stuff that says, you know what? We'll see what happens, but I like the over in that game.
All right, I like that too. Here's a game I'm staying away from, and I'm glad I locked this game in early because it opened up in the week at -7.5, and I thought that was an absolute value. 49ers against Detroit. That game is now moved up to -9.5. That's where I thought the line should have been in the first place. I said to Chris before, I thought the 49ers should be 10-point favorites heading to that game, at least 2 scores. So now I'm probably going to stay away from that game, but I am glad I locked that game in early on at -7.5 early on in the week. So I do think they win by 10 points if you want to roll the dice on that -9.5 at -110.
Well, that's another thing. Well, I was going to say, Chris, that's another thing that you guys have talked about over the years is if you're paying attention, you got to hop on those. That's a lot of points. The difference between 7.5 and 9.5 is a big difference because, if you get an 8-point lead, you should win, but not if you're given 9.5.
Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say, I know the big game this week, and I think a lot of people have different opinions of who's going to win or not going to win. But kind of what Chaz was talking about, looking at the last couple of years, looking at people's kind of trends. I look at this Kansas City game and the Cleveland game, and I'm really curious to see what your Chaz takes are on this game. I know people are kind of going back and forth. Cleveland's upgraded on defense. Will they be actual Super Bowl contender this year? But the Chiefs notoriously have started off spectacularly, especially under Andy Reid's start watch. And you even go back to the Eagle days, Andy Reid always starts off the season well.
Well, the Easy Sports data cheat sheet, right? It shows that Kansas City lost 7 of the 8. Overall, they've lost 7 of their last 8. However, Cleveland on the road has lost 11 of 14. So those are the kind of games where, you know what, the point spread, they're so good with the point spreads. I'm not making that up. Everybody knows that's a fact. They're just so good at it. It's amazing how good they are. And those are sometimes you got to just stay away from those. Or you catch a situation where, Cleveland scores first. Or Cleveland goes up 10-0, and then you got to look at that game differently too.
That would be good, and we're going to end it right there too with a nice little tidbit for what's probably going to be the game of the week, which is the Cleveland Browns and the Kansas City Chiefs. There, so take that advice into maybe look to live bet that game. But that's going to wrap it up for the MD's Fantasy Football Show for the MD's DFS. night of Fantasy Football Show. We'll be glad we'll be back every Saturday night doing this type of show for you guys with Chris, with Chaz, with our free DraftKings contest. Go sign up. The link is in the comments. We'll also post that again tomorrow morning. Don't you worry. And we'll be back on Unhinged Radio from 12 to 1 p.m. tomorrow Eastern time. Make sure you tune in that on unhingedsn.airtime.pro. And check me out. I'll be up on Belly Up Fantasy Live. The Belly Up Fantasy Live pregame show is coming back. We'll be starting at 11 a.m., going to 12:30, answering all of your fantasy football questions and previewing the games as we go with Mr. Adam LaRue as well. Guys, take it easy, Chaz. Thank you so much for coming on. Where can they find you at before we take off?
Yeah, on Twitter at Second Half Chaz. And of course, sportsbettingweeklylive.com will always give you our very last show. And as I've told you guys, every show we have is on the website. So, you know, talk about transparency.
Yeah, make sure you're giving us a follow at Belly Up MDFF Show. We're going to be your tool for you all season long. Everyone have a wonderful Saturday night and good luck tomorrow for week 1.